Hey, welcome to the second tutorial of 3XOC Mega Series. This tutorial will be quite a bit shorter than the last one, but I'm sure that'll be fine. Anyways, today's topic will be about comparing 3XOSC to Harmor, and in addition, I'm going to combine the layer episode of this. So we're going to compare 3XOSC to Harmor, and we're also going to see how you can use layer to replicate some of the results that you would usually get in Harmor. So let's load up a Harmor and a 3x OSC right here. First of all, for people who know what they're doing, you might notice that 3x OSC is a subtractive synthesizer and Harmor is an additive synthesizer, and you might ask, why in the world are you comparing two different synthesizers, opposites almost, to each other? And it's all because of this unison right here. And if you have no idea what any of this is, I'll explain it really quick. So let's switch to the defaults right here. So if we listen to the Harmor default sound and the 3XOSC default, actually here, let's change all the 3XOSC oscillators to the same pitch. They are exactly the same thing. They are one saw wave voice playing at the same frequency, at the same rate. You will notice in the shape up here that the saw waves in Harmor are going the opposite direction of the 3XOSC, and that causes a slight difference in sound, as you can kind of hear, but that's fine. It's just a difference in sound. So what I want to say is that in Harmor we have the unison tool, which basically adds voices to the sound that you're playing. So right now we just have one voice going, one saw wave voice. If we add stuff to the order, unison order, it adds voices to the unison. So 9. Whoa, you have 9 voices. Now if we change all those knobs to 0, it sounds like one voice again. These sliders, compared to the ones in 3XOC, are almost the exact same thing. So I'm not sure why I can't have them both open at the same time right now. Oh my gosh. There we go. So if you'll notice, we have the panning offset, which would be right here on all of them. We have the unison pitch thickness, which is essentially the detune and the fine coarse knobs kind of just put into one slider right here. And we have the phase knob, which is the phase offset slider right here. So as we increase one of these knobs, you can hear how the sound gets spread over the stereo when you increase the pan. You can hear the subtle difference right there. It's not the biggest difference. The big difference comes from the unison pitch thickness. And so you get a cool super saw sound. And also the phase. So you can see the similarities in these sliders over here to all the different options that are on 3XOSC. So really simple terms, 3XOSC is the unison window in Harmor. And that's the point I wanted to make by comparing the two. And another point I want to make is how to replicate the sound in 3XOSC that you'd get from Harmor using the unison. So in 3XOC you have 3 oscillators. That means 3 separate voices for any sound that you want. So right now we have 9 voices for a saw wave. In 3XOC we have 3 oscillators, 3 voices for a saw wave sound. So let's move this down to 3 and turn everything to 0. They're basically the same thing except the wave is inverted, but doesn't make too much of a difference right there. So if we wanted to replicate a, let's say we turn up the panning, the pitch thickness, and the phase. If we wanted to replicate that sound in 3XOSC, we would just change the phase offset to make it different on each one and change the detune slightly. So you can hear the similarities in those. But you might be saying, why are we limited to only 3 oscillators when Harmor can go up to 9 and sound like a really smooth, thick, I guess thick's not the right word, but you get what I mean. It sounds like a good saw wave sound. That's where layer comes in. So what layer basically does is allows you to have multiple children, so you can combine different channels into one sound, one main channel. So if I wanted to replicate a 9 voice pattern, I would just layer 3 3XOSCs on top of each other, because 3 oscillators times 3 3XOSCs is 9 oscillators, which is basically 9 voices in unison with each other, like the unison tab in Harmor. So if we clone all of these, we're able to set them as children by selecting all of these little rectangles right here, by holding Shift and then going to the Layer tab and clicking Set Children. So now when we click on Layer, you'll be able to hear that note. Now you might be thinking it doesn't sound the same as the 9 voices, and that's because all of these are clones, exact copies. So we have to change each of the phase offsets, each of the detunes, and each of the fine tunes on each oscillator, all 9 of these, slightly different. So I'll go ahead and do that really quickly and skip ahead to where I am. Alright, so I went ahead and changed all of them. So now when we go ahead and click the layer, you can hear it sounds a lot like this one. This one has more of an attack, and that's because the phasing, the phase offset is slightly different. And also the panning is. So now you're able to see that 3 3XOCs layered on top of each other will have the same effect as Harmor's unison order right here. And if you wanted to make it even better, you could always layer more 3x oscillators on top of each other and change the phasing and change the pitch, the fine tuning and the detune of each one. What's it called? Unison pitch thickness. And multiple 3XOSCs, more than 3, and you'll be able to get a really nice sound coming out of your layer. So that's how you make more complicated sounds out of 3XOSC, multiple 3XOSCs. And in my opinion, if you're more experienced or if you're willing to spend more time, using more 3XOSCs in a layer is actually better than using a single Harmor. Because Harmor can support up to 9 or 18 voices by both activating both A and B side and turning the order in each of those unisons up by 9. If you use Harmor before, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't use Harmor and don't know what I'm talking about, that's fine. But what I was saying is that using multiple 3XOCs could be a better solution because you have more control over the individual aspects that go into the voicing. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next episode where we'll be using layered to make more professional sounds, and we'll be exploring even more possibilities that can be done with layer. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.